So in the last class we have seen different types of materials like conductors, semiconductors and insulator. So our analog electronics and digital electronics subject, our entire discussion is about only semiconductor. That's why how to see the basics to the semiconductors. Semiconductor. So in the last class we have seen that if the energy gap is approximately is equals to 1 electron volt, we can say it is a semiconductor, or the resistivity lies between this conductor and insulator is said to be semiconductor. Yes. So coming to this, there are different types of semiconductors again. One is intrinsic semiconductor, and second one is extrinsic semiconductor. What is meant by intrinsic semiconductor means the pure form of semiconductors are said to be intrinsic semiconductor. Pure form of semiconductor. What is pure form of semiconductor means, if you see the examples of the intrinsic semiconductor or pure form of semiconductor, most of the students or most of the faculties are saying that all the fourth group elements are acts as a semiconductor. But if you see the fourth group elements in the periodic table are, the fourth group elements are carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. These are the fourth group elements in the periodic table. But if you see in detail, this carbon will be available in the form of crystalline and amorphous. In the crystalline form, it acts as a, these properties are very close to insulator. In the amorphous form, these properties are very close to graphite. This graphite is also acts as a semiconductor, but this graphite does not have good physical strength. That's why in the fabrication process, though this graphite has some semiconducting properties, we will not use it as a fabrication. That's what about our carbon element. Coming to the silicon and germanium, these are more abundant in the nature and they are very cheap, and almost 100% properties are very close to semiconductors. That's why these two are said to be good semiconductors. So if you see this lead and tin, these properties are very close to the conductors or metallic nature. That's why these two are acts as a conductors. So if anybody asks you what are the examples of the semiconductor, what are the examples of the intrinsic semiconductors means, you have to say silicon and germanium. So the valency of this fourth group elements are 4. Here. So this is an intrinsic semiconductor. So my question is, why we are going for the extrinsic semiconductor? Already silicon and germanium are abundantly existing in the nature. Why we are going for the extrinsic semiconductor means, to understand this I am considering one energy band diagram here. So this is conduction band and this is valency band, and this axis this is the interatomic distance, this is a interatomic distance, and this is a energy of electrons. So the gap between this conduction band and valency band is said to be energy gap. So if you see the silicon structure, every silicon atom shares 4 covalent bonds with a nearby silicon atom. So this is the structure of the silicon. So like this, every silicon atom has 4 covalent bonds with the nearby silicon atoms. This is the structure of the silicon. So this entire structure, every silicon atom shares 4 covalent bonds with the nearby silicon atom. This entire structure will be present in the valency band, which means the electron which is present in the valency band, it will be bound by, or it will be participate in the covalent bond itself. So to break this covalent bond, what we have to do is, we have to apply some energy. That energy will be greater than 1 electron volt. So it will be applied by different excitations are there. One is thermal excitation, one is photo excitation. Like this electrical excitation, different excitations are there. So I am assuming here, if I increase the temperature, if I give sufficient energy to this silicon, what happens is, whatever the electron present in this valency band, it may break the covalent bond and jumps from here to here. Electron will be present, jumps from valency band to conduction band. At the same time, some hole will be created here. And if I increase the temperature again, one more electron will break the covalent bond, and one more electron will jump from valency band to conduction band. At the same time, some vacancy will be existed in the valency band. That type of vacancy is said to be hole. That type of vacancy is said to be hole. So here, for intrinsic semiconductor, if I increase the temperature, number of electrons break the covalent bond, number of electrons are free, at the same time number of holes are created in the valency band. That's why the point to be remembered for this intrinsic semiconductor is, number of electrons and number of holes are same, that will be intrinsic concentration. This intrinsic concentration will be different for silicon and germanium. That is, Ni is equals to 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10 atoms per centimeter cube, or for silicon, and 2.5 into 10 to the power of 13 atoms per centimeter cube. Okay, so if you see this 1 centimeter length and 1 centimeter breadth and 1 centimeter height, if you consider any cube, this much of atoms are present in that. If you consider silicon, if you consider 1 centimeter length silicon, breadth and height, this much of atoms are present. And for germanium, 2.5 into 10 to the power of 13 atoms, this much of atoms are present. So for intrinsic semiconductor, you have to remember, for number of electrons and number of holes are equal, right? So why we are going for the extensive semiconductor is, here if I want, for example, I can create 10 electrons here, 10 holes here. I can create at room temperature, I can create 100 holes, 100 electrons and 100 holes. But if I want 1000 electrons, if I increase the temperature more than 40 degrees or 50 degrees, even human beings cannot sustain at that temperature. That's why at the room temperature only we have to create the sufficient currents and voltages. That's what we have to do is, there is a method called doping. By using the doping method, we will convert this intrinsic semiconductor into extensive semiconductor. So if you attend any interview, they are directly asking what is meant by doping. You should be in a position that you have to answer that question. It's a very easy question, but at the point of interview you have to remember. So doping. What is meant by doping? Doping. It is the process of adding. It is the process of adding. It is the process of adding impurities to. It is the process of adding impurities to pure semiconductor or intrinsic semiconductors. So, it is the process of adding impurities to the pure semiconductor. What are the impurities we have to add? Shall we add water? Or shall we add any iron? We cannot add like that. We have some applications. Based on application only we have to add some impurities. That type of impurity is said to be, there are two types of impurities here. The impurities are very, very important here. Impurities are of two types again. One is trivalent impurity. And second one is pentavalent impurity. Trivalent impurity and pentavalent impurity. This trivalent impurity is nothing but a third group element in the periodic table, and pentavalent impurity is nothing but a fifth group elements in the periodic table. So if you consider the trivalent impurity or third group elements, this is the fifth group element. So when I go for the third group elements, again the third group elements are boron, aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium. When I go for the fifth group elements, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic and antimony and bismuth. So these are the elements which are belongs to the fifth group element, and these are the elements which are belongs to the third group element. So already we know pure silicon structure here. This is a silicon structure. Every silicon atom shares 4 covalent bonds with nearby silicon atom. This is a silicon. This is a silicon. silicon. So this is structure of the silicon. When I add third group elements like boron, when I replace the silicon with boron, this reaction will be takes place at more than 800 degrees centigrade, I think so. So when I add this boron to this pure silicon, the valency of this boron is 3, third group elements is 3, and valency of this fifth group elements is 5. So when I add this boron to this pure semiconductor or silicon, then what happens is these 3 covalent bonds are shared by this boron atom, and this covalent bond will be incomplete. This covalent bond will be incomplete, which means here some electron is there, but there is no free electron to share the covalent bond. This type is said to be hole. This incomplete. Here I am writing hole, the definition of the hole also. Hole. The definition of the hole is it is a incomplete covalent bond. It is a incomplete covalent bond. Incomplete covalent bond, and it has positive charge. It has positive charge. Positive. Incomplete covalent bond is nothing but a hole, and it has a positive charge. So when I write this or when I see this diagram in the energy band diagram, compare this to the energy band diagram. Energy band diagram. Again, this energy band diagram consists of electrons and holes, conduction band and valency band. This energy band diagram consists of, this is a valency band and this is a conduction band. This is the energy gap. This is the energy of electron. Energy of electron, and this is the interatomic distance. Interatomic distance. So when I add this boron to this pure silicon, this energy level, this is nothing but an empty energy level. You can say it is a empty energy level also. This hole is nothing but a empty energy level. Empty energy level. Empty energy level present above the valency band. Above the valency band. So this energy level will be present here. Here some hole will be created here. Here I am considering only single atom. That's why it will create one hole. If you consider any material, it has lot of atoms. That's why doping will be 1:10 to the power of 3 or 1:10 to the power of 8. Depends on our application, we can dope. That's why here number of holes will be increased like this. So the gap between this and this is very small. 0.03 electron volt per germanium and 0.05 electron volt per silicon here. So when I give very small amount of energy, these electrons present in this valence band, the entire structure will present in here. These electrons present in the covalent bond will break the covalent bond and jumps from here to here and here to here and here to here, here to here, like this. So some more holes are created in the valence band. This will be occupied by this electron. Holes are created in the valence band. If you observe here, in conduction band still no electron is present, but valence band some holes are present. If I increase the temperature, that is approximately is equal to 1 electron volt energy, then these electrons can jump from here to here and some more holes can jump from here to here. That's why when we compare this at high temperature, 10 electrons are present in the conduction band means 110 or 1010 holes are present in the valency band. If you compare this with this, what happens is in the p-type semiconductor, number of holes are greater than number of electrons. Number of holes are greater than number of electrons, which means here majority carriers are holes. Majority carriers are holes and minority carriers are electrons. Minority carriers are electrons. Majority carriers are holes and minority carriers are electrons. So another point you have to remember for this p-type semiconductor is the impurity is said to be, the impurity which is added to this, which we are adding is said to be trivalent impurity. This trivalent impurity is also called trivalent impurity. Trivalent impurity is also called accept or impurity. This is very important term, accept or impurity. This trivalent impurity is also called accept or impurity, which will be denoted as Na. In any interview, directly they may ask like this: what are the trivalent elements or trivalent impurity? What is trivalent impurity? And what are the examples for the trivalent impurity? They are asking like this. So these elements we have to remember: boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and thallium. This boron is most powerful trivalent impurity, which is used to make the p-type semiconductor. Okay, this is nothing but a p-type semiconductor. In p-type semiconductor, majority carriers are holes and minority carriers are electrons. And with respect to p-type semiconductor, another point we have to remember is so p-type semiconductor, another point we have to remember is the structure of the p-type is, just now only I said to you, this is a boron. This boron atom shares 3 covalent bonds with a nearby silicon atom, and 4th covalent bond will be incomplete. This incomplete structure is represented as so this incomplete structure is represented as like this. This is a hole. This incomplete structure is represented as negative ion and some hole. This hole will be represented here, and this entire structure will be negative ion, which means if you consider the p-type semiconductor, the structure will be some negative ion and free hole, negative ion and hole, negative ion and hole, like this. Negative ion and hole, negative ion and hole. This is the structure of the p-type semiconductor. Coming to the n-type semiconductor, by adding pentavalent impurities to a pure semiconductor like silicon or germanium, we are getting n-type semiconductor. So for example, again I am taking silicon. This silicon shares 4 covalent bonds with a nearby silicon atom. So silicon again shares 4 covalent bonds with silicon, nearby silicon atom. So when I add some nitrogen does not have that much tendency to donate the electron. That's why I am adding some p-type semiconductor. Phosphorus, I am adding, sorry, it is not a p-type semiconductor, I am adding some phosphorus here. When I add phosphorus here, the silicon reacts with phosphorus, and this phosphorus reacts 4 covalent. The valency of the phosphorus is 5. That's why outermost electrons are 5 here. In these 5 electrons, 4 electrons are shared with 4 covalent bonds with the nearby silicon atom, and 50 electron will be empty. This 50 electron will be free. This is said to be free electron. So if you see this in the energy band diagram, these electrons will be seen in the energy band diagram. This is interatomic, this is valency band, and this is conduction band. This is interatomic distance, and this is energy of the electron. This is the energy of the electron. So this free electron will be located very near to the conduction band. This is nothing but this hole is nothing but this electron is nothing but a field energy level present in the or below the conduction band. The gap between this EC and this energy level is very small. That is 0.03 electron volt per germanium and 0.05 electron volt per silicon. Very small. For example, so here so many electrons are present here. So to jump the electron from valency band to the conduction band, it requires more than 1 electron volt. This is very hardest energy. But coming to this here, only some electrons are very close to the conduction band. If I give very small amount of energy, these electrons may jump from here to here. Approximate room temperature, almost all these electrons are jumps from here to conduction band. Yet that there is no hole in the valency band. If I increase the temperature more than room temperature, there may be chance to get. For example, here 100 electrons are there. Here 0 holes are there. If I increase the temperature, 10 electrons are jumps from here to here. Here 10 holes are created here. Which means when we compare the electronic concentration with hole concentration in the n-type semiconductor, electrons are more. Electron concentration is more than the hole concentration. which means majority carriers are electrons and minority carriers are holes. Majority carriers are electrons and minority carriers are holes. That's what you have to remember for n-type semiconductor. And they are asking directly what is the impurity added to pure semiconductor. To get the n-type semiconductor means pentavalent impurity. Another important point you have to remember is pentavalent impurity is also known as pentavalent impurity is also known as donor impurity. Pentavalent impurity is also known as donor impurity. This word is very important in the examination point of view or interview point of view. What is donor impurity they are asking? This is represented as MD. Okay, this is very important for p-type as well as n-type semiconductor. So here the best pentavalent impurity is the phosphorus. So it will donate the free electron very easily. That's why most probably we are preparing for this phosphorus only. So the structure of the p-type semiconductor is this entire structure will be represented as a positive and this free electron will be represented as a here. So if you consider the n-type semiconductor, positive and electron, positive and electron, positive and electron. So this is the structure of the n-type semiconductor. So this concept will be very useful in the p-n junction diode. That's what I am again and again repeating. Okay. So this is while we are considering the pure silicon and doped with pentavalent impurities, we have to draw the structure, and trivalent impurities we have to draw the before structure. So next important concept which we use in the p-n junction diode is drift and diffusion current. Drift and diffusion current. So drift current. So drift current means, if I am taking one example here, 1 ohm and 5 volts here. So what is the current flowing through this circuit means, by using Ohm's law, I is equals to V by R, which is equals to 5 by 1, which is equal to 5 amps. So without this battery, there is no current flowing through this resistor. If the current is flowing due to external electric field or external voltage, that type of current is said to be drift current. Here I am placing some resistor. You may place even semiconductor. There is also in the p-n junction diode, in the forward bias, by applying some external voltage, built-in voltage will be 0, then the current will be flowing through the semiconductor. So I am writing definition. If the current is the current flowing through the material, the current flowing through the material, it may be semiconductor or conductor, due to external applied field is called, applied field is called drift current. And drift current density J is directly proportional to electric field, and J is equals to sigma into E, where sigma is the conductivity. So the drift current, flows both in metals and semiconductor. The drift current flows both in metals and semiconductors. That's what you have to remember. This is a drift current. So one more topic is there, that is diffusion current. So diffusion current here. Diffusion current. So diffusion current. This is a peculiar current here. What is meant by diffusion current means, so if you consider the pure semiconductor, whether it may be germanium or silicon, if it is when we are saying the pure number of electrons and number of holes are equal, that will be intrinsic concentration. For example, we can assume that 10 electrons is equal to 10 holes. When I dope this pure silicon or germanium with trivalent or pentavalent impurity. I am adding pentavalent impurity. This is a pure germanium or pure silicon. Then when it has a pentavalent impurity, here 100 electrons will be present and 10 holes are there. Here for pure silicon, 10 electrons and 10 holes. Here if you observe, here the electron concentration is 100, here the electron concentration is 10, means due to concentration gradient, what happens is these electrons will try to move from here to here. When these electrons try to move from here to here, what happens is up to here 50 electrons and here also 55 electrons and 55 electrons up to equilibrium condition, which means the concentration here and here will be equal. Up to that, the carriers can move from pentavalent impurities to the pure semiconductor, which means here I am not applying any external energy, but this carriers can move due to temperature. Due to temperature, this type of current is said to be diffusion current. So if you write, so the current which flows through the semiconductor, which flows through the semiconductor due to concentration gradient, current which flows through the semiconductor due to concentration gradient is called diffusion current. So this current flows due to temperature. So the current density for diffusion current is Jn is equals to E into dn by dx. This is for electrons, and Jp is equals to minus E into dp by dx. This is for holes. This is for electrons and this is for holes. So another note you have to remember for this diffusion current is, so the diffusion current flows in semiconductors. The diffusion current flows in semiconductors only. So up to this we will use the basics in the PN junction diode. But next topic is